what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. So today we're just going to be continuing where we left off in the last video, and we're going to get ready to tuck this headlight harness on the white car. So basically, in the last video I pulled the harness through right here. There's the rubber grommet, and I went through and I stripped all the wiring loom off of this. So basically, to start this process, you want to think about exactly how you want it to look when you're finished. Do you want the fuse box under the hood? Do you want it under the dash? Is the battery staying under the hood? So for me, I am going to be tucking the fuse box inside the car, and the battery is going to be going in the trunk. So once you have all the wiring loom stripped off, you want to start from the furthest end of the harness. These are the turn signals for the bumper lights. You feed that harness up a little bit more. You have the two headlight plugs, high and low beam, and you also have the radiator fan. So all that's staying. And once you get to where the ground is, it'll split off, and you have these two plugs. One's for the AC, and the one with the orange plug is for the ABS relay. These are both getting deleted. Followed up a little bit more, it splits off. All these were from the ABS pump, so all those are going to get deleted. Follow it down a little bit further, and you'll have this bunch of wires here. These are for the fuse box, so these are all staying. And these are for the engine harness. Follow it down a little bit further. You have this brown plug that was from the EVAP, and this orange plug that's from the ABS that goes into the wheel well. So those are going to get deleted. So the first wire I'm going to be deleting is this ABS relay. If you look at it, it's 4 wires. The black one's going to go to the multi-ground. So I'm just going to snip this right here, follow this up to the multi-ground, and cut it. Then I'm going to cut the other wires from this, the other 3, and I'm going to start going back all the way down the harness until I get them to where the plug is. So once you snip that ground wire, you can see it goes to the little metal ring right here. So I'm just going to snip that off right there. So the relay plug is sitting right there. Snip the other 3 wires. So 2 of the wires, if you follow them back down the harness, go into 2 of these ABS clips. So I'm just going to snip those from there. And then if you follow the other one all the way down the harness, it's just the one right here. I just have it going through this to hold its place so it doesn't get mixed back in the bundle. But basically when I cut this, we'll feed it back some more. So we're just going to leave this one here for the time being, because we're probably going to have a few more wires that are going to go back this way. So I'm going to cut these, and then we'll move on to the next plug. So here's the next plug, which is for the AC. So this one has 4 wires also. So basically, I'm going to snip one and just follow it back down through the harness until we get either all the way to that grommet, or we get to another section where we can clip it. I cut the red one off of the AC plug first, and I followed that back down, and that goes to the brown plug that goes in the fuse box under the hood. So I'm just going to snip that right up here, and then move on to the next wire. So I'll cut the yellow wire, I'll follow that back down through the harness, and that's going up into the grommet, so I just got that one pulled aside also. I'll also cut the blue with the black, and when you follow that back, that goes to the same brown plug that the previous wire went to. So now basically starting at the end of the harness, we have our signal lights, our horn, come a little bit further, you have the fan, and then the 2 lights and the multi-ground. So if you follow the harness down a little bit more, the next section of wires that we need to get rid of are all these orange plugs, because these are for the ABS. So the first one I'm going to start with is this thick black one, because I know this goes to the multi-ground. And then same method as before, just follow each wire, take your time, and then this, if they lead all the way down, just put them aside. Once all the ABS stuff is clipped back, for the wires you have pulled over here, you should have 13 of them. A good bunch of them are still on the plug right here. but these all go up to the grommet. So I'm just going to keep moving down the harness. All the engine stuff obviously stays, but this is kind of in its own bunch, so you can decide how you want to put that back in the engine bay if you want to go through the same grommet. I'm personally thinking of depinning them and putting them through this hole right here, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Also, all the fuse box stuff is staying under here. So right now I only have 2 more bundles to do, which is the orange ABS and the brown for the evap. So I'm going to do the evap first. Same process as before. Alright, so all the wires that I had tucked over here, basically I just snipped them, brought them all the way back to where this junction is right here. Now if you really wanted to get into this, you could remove everything and take them out through this harness one by one, just like I showed you how to do this section. But I don't have time to get into all that right now, because I'll have to take out the heater core, take out all this stuff here in order to get to it, because most of the stuff's probably going to the fuse box or switches. So this right here is just going to get tucked down in here like that. So all these wires right now are out the harness. So that's basically everything I removed right there. So if you come in this area right here, you'll see this like sponge. You just want to pull that out, and then you'll see the door harness coming through right here. There's a rubber grommet on the other side. I'm going to have to pull off the fender and the bumper and the side skirt. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then we'll start feeding this harness through there. Alright, so to pull off the fender, you're going to have 3 bolts at the top. You're going to have a 10 right here in the door. You're going to have 2 10s down at the bottom underneath the side skirt right there. You're going to have a screw right here. And then you're also going to have a 10 back here. There's a fender bracket holding this on. And then for the bumper, this Integra has a lot of bolts on the bumper, but pretty much you just follow straight across to here, up to here. So I'm going to pull that off real quick, and then we'll continue. I popped the door grommet aside and fed all the wire through. As you can see, most of this stuff is almost long enough to reach where it needs to be. A couple of the grounds are going to have to be extended, but I'll show you how I'm going to attach this in a second. So this is what I'm going to be using, some flex tubing. This is the wire loom. This comes with 10 feet of 3/8 and 10 feet of 1/2 inch. I'm doing this budget style because you can get some nicer looms like off of Amazon or eBay. You want to get the split loom unless you want to depin everything. And I'm using these cable clamps. These ones are plastic, so I don't have to worry about them rusting or anything. And I'm just going to use a self-tapping screw in this section here. But basically I'm going to start lengthening these wires, because you don't want anything to be really tight. You want to have it nice and loose. So after I have the wire pulled through, I put on my clamps where I want to mount them at. And you got to figure out where you want to put your ground. You can pretty much put this stuff wherever you want, just be creative as you want to. I decided to put mine right here. So I had to extend a couple of the ground wires. I just have them twisted for the time being. I got to go get my soldering iron and solder all the connections. But this is how it's going to run up into the ground. And I'm going to have just one piece of this loom coming all the way over to here. And then the ground stuff will come out. And then we'll start working on getting this stuff up towards the front. But let me get these connections soldered up, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so I showed you up to the point where I have this harness right here. Still not done yet, but basically I had to extend the headlight wires and the fan switch. So all these are those. So they all come down over here, horn is right here. The radiator is just kind of hanging right here because I'm going to have this tuck up through this side here to go into that. And then the headlights brought up right here through the side, and then they're tucked like that. So I'm going to loom all this stuff up now. Alright, so this is what it's basically going to look like. I'll still have to go through and tape the loom up every few inches, but it comes down here through the front. I need to get some of those zip ties that go in these little holes to attach this here. I'm going to loom these also, but I need to get the tape, and then I have to loom the fan, which comes around here, but then the headlights come up through here, and they'll come right through here like that. It'll be nice and tucked, but I can still tuck this under, but the headlights just sitting in here for the time being. So I notched the grommet, took a little corner of it off, so now that this goes right in here, and I got the wires all tied up, it comes down. I'll still have to get those clip zip ties for the front, but it looks pretty good. It's nice and clean, everything's out of the way. I routed it up so you don't see it through this hole. Got the ground standing up right there. So that's it for this side, so we're going to move on to the driver's side. Alright, so I kind of jumped ahead because my neighbors were cutting the grass and it would have made for really shitty video quality. But basically I took off the steering column support. It's a 12 down here, 2 12s here, and 3 over on this side. But in order to get that off, you have to take off the dash bracket. It's a little black piece that's like a triangle. There's just 2 screws on that, and there's 3 relays screwed to it. So you just want to take those off. And I took all those off because I had to get to this cruise control unit, which is mounted right back up in here because this bracket's in the way from pulling the wires. So the bracket's bolted on like this, and there's a 10 at the top and a 10 at the bottom, and then there's 2 10s that hold the actual computer on, and then there's 1 clip. So I just unplugged this because I got rid of the cruise control a long time ago. So this is just trash now. So I already went ahead and pulled the little foam piece out. It goes right where the sunroof drain is. So that's ready as soon as I pull off the fender and the side skirt. So now we're going to start messing with the wiring harness. So we're going to be following the same process as we did before. Just start at the furthest end of the harness and work your way up towards the grommet. So these are for the corner lights, so I'm keeping them. Come down a little bit more. I got the 2 headlight harnesses. I'm keeping those. This little clip right here is for factory fog lights. I don't know if I'm going to use this for a switch or something in the future, but the other end is a little brown connector. It's up under here somewhere, and it makes it easier to run any wires to the front. So I'm just going to keep that on this. Then we have the windshield washer pump. We're getting rid of that, so we'll go through and follow these wires through and disconnect them. So here's the 2 washer pump wires. I just got those linked over like I did that bracket on that side. So going down the harness, next I have the cruise control switch. This is 4 wires. So I'm going to trace these back and just throw them over the steering column once I get to the grommet. There's the cruise control connector. I also went ahead and this little ground that goes onto the brake reservoir to tell you if your fluid's low or not. I took that out. That just goes right to the multi-ground. So going down, the next one I have is this power steering connector. This is the one that hooked up close to where the rack is. So I'm going to take this out now. So after you get the power steering line ran over the column, the next one down will be the wiper connector. I'm keeping this because this car needs wipers if I decide to drive it when it rains. Then you go further down. The next two are going to be an ABS connector, and the one with the little black grommet on there is for the brake level. I'm getting rid of those. And then the other ones that are going to be on there are going to be your driver's side shock tower connections, which you definitely need to keep those. So right now I'm just going to split the grommet like I did before, and then we're going to start cutting these wires back. So the driver's side harness is through the grommet. I added my little clamps and I bolted the ground, and this is where the wire is. Nothing's been extended. So for the wiper harness, I got these to pin. So basically to do this, you'll have these three little holes right here. Just take a straight pick and press against them, and then this piece will pop out. And then to depin them, use the straight pick and then slide it in through this side, and then where that groove is, try to line the pick up right down the middle and kind of pry up and pull the wire at the same time. Those should come right out. Alright, so the wiper connector is in. I didn't have to extend any wires. I fed it through that little hole right there, and it comes through right here. Make sure you loom it all up before you start pushing it through. It's a little bit difficult because there's like a piece of metal that goes up and down, so you kind of got to go around it. But if you tape the loom up, it's not going to slide back and forth, and that way you don't nick any of the wires when you're putting it through there. So that's done. I'm going to start putting some of the loom on the wiring and come up this way, and then we'll start working on the headlights. Alright, so the harness is pretty much done. I only had to extend two wires, which are the headlight wires. Got one connector here, one connector here. They've run down in between the headlight bracket, come down behind the bumper support. The turn signal Y's off right here. I still have to get the zip ties that clip into the holes, hold this up so it'll be nice and tight. But that's pretty much going to wrap this up. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them at the bottom. Before you start a project like this, you want to think about what you want to keep in the engine bay. You don't have to cut the wires like I did. You can just tuck them in the harness. But next video, we're probably going to start working on the braking system. So until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.